Thank you. So as I said, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Performing while transforming is definitely probably one of the biggest challenges and opportunities for any business, any individual, any team. I'm Olivier and I'm born in Belgium. Flanders is my home, my home. Europe is my future, and I see the world as my playground. And I've worked 22 years at Microsoft around the world in global international roles, done 17 different jobs. And the last 4 years since I left Microsoft, I've been focusing on helping startups, scale-ups, and corporates to perform while transform or to transform while performing, depending on where they are in the stage of their maturity. Now, what I discovered is in the 50 years I've been around on this planet and 35 years in business, I always wondered, why do some individuals or businesses sparkle? Why do some people and businesses attract success? And life is not linear. Life goes ups and down. But why do some people still go back and find success in their personal life or their business life? And there were three things I discovered. First of all, people that are sparkling see and sense the world around them. They're able to see digital transformation. They're able to see geographical changes, socio-demographic changes. They are able to see and understand what is happening with COVID or pandemics. But not only seeing and sensing, but also what is the impact for me as an individual, as a team, or as a business. Secondly, if you see things, many people lose their purpose or their future because there's so many things they need to see. So you have to energize a response to what you see, to personally transform or to transform as a business. And ultimately, those that truly sparkle, those that truly have the fire in their eyes as a business or individual, they're able to find a balance in performing and while transforming. And in the talk that I'm going to do in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to touch lightly on each one of them. Seeing, sensing, energize, responding, and performing while transforming. So seeing to understand. A few trends, but before I do so, some of you might have read the book A Tale of Two Cities from Charles Dickens, which was written in 1860, just before and during the French Revolution. And if you open the first pages of that book, it talks about the best of times, the worst of times, it's season of light and season of darkness. And it's a half glass full or half glass empty. Now, the question, if you take this book and read this first page, it's exactly where people feel the world is. Or you're very worried, or you see the opportunities, or you see so much stuff going on around the world that you see darkness coming over the world. And I'll touch a few big meta trends. The first big meta trend is the digital acceleration. And of course, there's drones and there's self-driving cars, there's blockchain, there's a lot of digital acceleration. And digital is changing business models, is changing ecosystems, is changing the way we relate to customers, organizations, and people. But if you remember three things, probably those are the three things you should remember from everything you see around the world. First of all, data is the new oil. I mean, in many companies you have unstructured data, not very well connected. But if you do well with data and you're able to predict even what's going to happen to your customers, your business, data is the oil. If you then add AI, which you can see as the new electricity, on top of data, it's tremendous powerful. And then the third big trend is that all those technologies like 3D and blockchain and AI and networks and everything are converging. They are touching each other and accelerating, which means that by far in time, in the 5 to 10 years to come, we will be able to know everything, anywhere, anytime. And cloud has enabled this, that data and information follows with us having a constant connection with the world. First of all, a digital converging acceleration. The second one is we have changing demographics and demands. Today we have 5 living generations. And each one of them have a different view of what wars they went through or observed, how they viewed their first love, how they feel about technology, how they take care of money, how they perceive family. Each generation has a different view. First of all, we have the silent generation. Those are people before 1945, born before 1945. Those were very silent, literally. They were not the most revolutionized audience, and they like to have stability in their life. They don't like changes. Those are people that would be loyal to companies when they worked for 20, 30, 40 years in the same company. And then those who are born in 1945 and after, before 1960, were the baby boomers after the Second World War. Baby boomers, what did they do? They produced a lot of babies, because in the Second World War, 67 million people died, more than 300 million people were seriously injured. And so that generation was freed from war. They were in a happiness state, and they created that baby boomer generation. And then we have Generation X, which are born in 1961, 1980. And I'll come back in a minute to this generation. And then we have Generation Y, the millennials. If you don't know what to do, hire a millennial. If you want to know how to solve the global warming, the millennials will solve that. There's so much hope on the millennials that they might become the biggest disappointment of all generation, because they will never be able to deliver on the promise that people expect from millennials. And then we have Generation Z. This is what we truly call the I generation, born after 1995. I call them the 8-second generation. If they have a smartphone or a device, if you don't interest them within 8 seconds as a parent or whatever, they swipe you away. You are competing with the digital engine they might find the digital life they are living in. And then we have Generation X. People born between 1961 and 1980, and I assume a big portion of this audience. And I call them the lost generation, because there's no name for that. And I found lost generation might be a good one. Why is this? Because in 1930, John Maynard Keynes, a famous economist, predicted by 1930 we would work 15 hours a week, and the rest we would enjoy culture, we would travel, we would look at the world, we would do sports, we would enjoy life, and we would work just enough to do what we like. But something happened after the Second World War. The mass marketing was created, global marketing was created, creating needs for things we didn't need in the Western world and the global world, even more over time. And we started working with two. So we started working hard. We wanted to buy a lot of stuff. And instead of working 15 hours a week, we feel we are working 15 hours a week. 5 living generations. However, the way you look at the world is not defined by when you are born, it's defined by your mindset. And I call it Generation C. There is a generation across those 5 of people that have the same mindset, that want to share, that love experiences, that want to have personalized approaches, that love convenience, that love to know what their purpose is and what the purpose of the company is, or the purpose of the company they are buying products from, love health and speed and self-realization. And this is independent of age. And this is the connected generation. So the second big meta trend is changing demographic, changing demand. The third one is the challenge to find a way to see and building an ecosystem around it, where you're not defined anymore by the resources you have within the company, but you embrace and handshake with the outside, and you build a platform and a business model to do so. And you have Silicon Valley, who has been very strong for the last decades, extremely strong. You have Silicon Dragon in Asia that's knocking to the door. If America says, let's make America great again, and China says, maybe I can take over. However, we've seen recently with TikTok and others and Huawei, there are some challenges of privacy and secrecy for some of the countries. And then we have Silicon Europe trying to figure out what they should do coping with this. And also in Africa, I've seen great examples in Silicon Africa and South Africa and Kenya and Nigeria of having hubs, creating that kind of Silicon Valley spirit. But anyway, whatever you do, it is about building ecosystems, by building a great platform supporting that, and then having a business model to monetize. And then we have low-touch economy. COVID has created what I would call a temporary normal. There is no new normal because every day is different. The world has changed massively. And due to that, we have taken health measures, and health measures have had an economic disruption globally in your country, in your city, in your company, and has changed behaviors. And it's like a vicious loop, changing everything we know for granted. This pandemic has changed the way we operate. Our economy is now shaped by new habits and regulations. In a low-touch, reduced close contact interaction world, where travel and hygiene restrictions is extremely high. And this will change the way we eat, the way we work, the way we shop, the way we travel, manage our health, socialize, and spend our free time. At a rate we haven't seen before for years, even though we believe digital has done so, a lot of changes. COVID has changed fundamentally how we operate. And then the last trend I'll touch is, of course, the economy is changing, and the economy is fundamentally changing how cognitive tasks will be very predominant versus automation of repetitive tasks. But there will be people finding new jobs, so part of their jobs being automated, or not finding jobs. But I do believe there will be what I call the homo inutilis, a useless class, unemployed and unemployable, because they are not born in the right place, they don't have the capabilities, and they are untrainable. Massive amount of people, of millions of people, that are impacted by what is happening and not able to cope with the world that is changing. Therefore, we'll need to cope. How will we remain inclusive in a world that we don't create millions of hundreds of millions of useless class, if I may call it like this, unemployed and unemployable. But before me, 5 friends. I didn't cover all of them, but I would love to give the word to some experts to give you a sign of what they believe the future is looking like.
Cars in the future will be way smarter than cars now because you can select anything. It'll have a computer in it for you, a TV. You don't have to drive the car anymore. It'll do stuff for you. It'll travel faster. You can do anything with it.
Someday the house will be so smart it would know like what you want and what you like.
You would press this button and just say what you would like, and then it would automatically come out every time.
Sometimes you wish that, oh, I wish I could have pizza right now. It would be like,
but you gotta speak clearly, because you could say a vegetables while coughing, and then something weird will come out, like some sort of weird new alien life form.
Someday they'll make this mirror that will make it look like you're wearing what you want to wear. I would be a ninja and I could try a million outfits, and one of them would be red, one of them will be dark black, one of them will be light blue. Someday robots will help me do whatever I want.
Like if you want to go to Paris, your robot will just like fly you there, express ride, or just teleport you there, and then give you a quick and then like organize all the tours for you and everything, and like help you get used to the jet lag and stuff.
Like they would like clean the room. They would fix the house.
Yeah, because with a little imagination, anything's possible.
The reason why I'm showing this video is that if you look through the eyes of children, they have a total different way of looking at the world. If you look at, they have a different reference framework. My reference framework when I was born in Belgium, it was Commodore 64, it was ZX Vectrum, it was Barbies fighting Action Mans. I had a total different view at a time. So I advise people, when you look at the world, not to look just through your own reference framework, but to look to the new generation that are coming. And even when you do innovation ideation, invite kids, young children of 10, 18 years, and help them to co-create the future of your company or your small business as you move forward. Having said this, are we then in a disruption? In fact, we are not truly in a disruption, because the only true disruption was 65 million years ago, when a meteorite hit planet Earth and almost annihilated the whole planet. It at least killed the dinosaur era. So where are we then? To understand this, we have to understand human history. If you look at the big human history milestones, we had a milestone of being hunter and gatherers in our tribes. And then thousands of years later, millions of years later, we had agriculture, which was a big revolution in the world as we know it today. But innovation was extremely slow. Innovation time between fire and the wheel took 1 million years. And then something happened. We had the Industrial Revolution #1, the mechanical one in 1784. Less than 100 years later, we had the electrical Industrial Revolution. And then we had the Internet Revolution in 1969. And the one we are now is called the Industrial Revolution 4.0, basically called the phygital, where the divide between cyber, digital, and the physical is blurring. And this one is truly empowering people, empowering businesses much more than the previous Industrial Revolution, which was very much empowering corporations. And this revolution has a bigger impact on society than it has on industry. And then recently, COVID and the Corona pandemic has created and accelerated digital transformation massively. Things that would have taken 2 to 3 years have been reduced to 2, 3, or 4 months in businesses, in the way you live. It has tremendous impact, accelerating anything we've seen so far in the past few months. So there are some trends, meta trends, not all of them were covered. There are some ways of looking at the world, understanding it. So how do you personally and from a business transform? First of all, let's try to understand how the brain works. The brain is the most complex organ on the planet. We still don't know how it works. But what we do know is that we have a limbic system through which we feel things first, and then we assign meaning to a rational brain side, the front end. So this means that if you want to transform people and you want to get people along in your journey, touch my heart before you reach my head. Extremely important. The second thing we know is the brain has 86 billion neurons, and we only use 10 to 12%. But this is a myth. We don't know how much percent we use from our brain, and that's a myth. What we also know is the human body has 7 trillion nerves. And then you wonder, why do I have stress? And what we also know is that some people manage to get on every single one of them. And that's a truth. Therefore, my first principle, and I have 22 of them in normal as a list, I only cover 4 of them. My first principle is your ego should not be bigger than your talent. If your ego is bigger than your talent, you're close to new ideas. You're close to others' opinion. You're not in a listening mode, you're in a talking mode. Or you enhance your talent, your own talent, through training, through those conferences. Or you reach out to people, talented people around you, or you hire some talent. Or you reduce your ego. But your ego should not be bigger than your talent if you want to transform personally. First principle. A second one, if you want to transform, you can't allow any organizational, technology, product, service, or business model religion. What I mean with this is the way we've been doing it in the past. I am the father or the mother of this strategy, this product. We can't change this. When you look at the world of transformation, you have to look at it as if you look to the legacy, you embrace the legacy, you learn from the legacy, but you don't look to the past, you look to the future. So no religion for businesses on organization, technology, product and service, and business model as a person, as an individual. And then we need to move from yes, but, yes, no, yes, however, to yes, we can, yes, and. You know, sometimes you have to say yes, no, and yes, however, or no, but you can't have, by definition, the only answer each time someone presents something new or something they are passionate about, saying yes, but. I call them the energy drainers of the organization. You just imagine someone you know as a friend or in a business or in a meeting room, and you have a meeting room, you're passionately presenting something, and there's somebody in the room, and you know when that person, when you say, is any question, and that person show her or his hand and says, yes, but, and then it goes a whole range of why we can't do what you're telling. It sucks the energy out of the room and it stops transformation. So move on, yes, we can, and yes, and sometimes it's yes, no, or no altogether. And then the fourth one, if you truly want to succeed, is when saying what you say, the way you behave, and the way you operate are one. Many companies are extremely good in saying and presenting, in saying what they want to do, in saying where they want to go. But they are not behaving, leading by example, you as an individual, or they are not behaving to what they say. And especially, they are not operating on a daily basis on what they say and they behave. If you want to truly succeed as an individual in your transformation, make sure saying and behave and operating is one. 4 personal transformation principles. As I said, a little bit more, but those are the most important one I believe I should share in this session. And then the question is, how do you then perform and transform, and how do I view the difference between the two? Performing is delivering on your commitments. Performing is the performance. It is what you promise to your shareholders, to your employees, to your customers, to your investors, to yourself. And you will try to operationally excel in what you do. You're going to have higher productivity, efficiency, and effectiveness. And you focus very much on this, most of you, or some of you. But the true power doesn't sit in the operational excellence. It's needed, but on the transforming side. The true power is, do I believe in your future? Are you as a company, as a startup, as a scale-up, bringing me as an employee or as a new hire or somebody who wants to be hired, as an investor, as a shareholder, as an employee or a partner? Do I believe that your company is bringing me to the future? And this is what I call innovation excellence. Innovation excellence in all its terms: cultural innovation, organization innovation, strategy innovation, building ecosystem innovation, technology innovation. If you do too much of operational excellence, you will kill all creativity and innovation. If you do too much innovation excellence, you might not succeed as a business. Corporates sometimes, in many cases, focus too much on the left side and have forgotten the innovation excellence. Startups might focus too much on innovation excellence and new ideas and not enough on operation excellence. So you have to find a balance so you can focus on people, customers, profit, and society of today, while you also think of tomorrow. And the question is, which pill do you want to take? There's a famous movie from the 90s, which was called The Matrix. And I don't know how many of you know The Matrix. It was a very science fiction, with beautiful special effects in the movie. There were 3 of them. It's already 30 years old. At one point of time, the rebellion leader, Morpheus, asked the main character, the hero, Neo, which pill he wants to take. Do you want to take the blue pill, or do you want to take the red pill? And the blue pill, everything will stay the same. Nothing changes. You will go back to the way you lived before. Or do you want to take the red pill? You don't know where you're heading. You know there's going to be a lot of change, and it will demand a lot of dynamic and agility, and maybe some risk of failing and not succeeding. And the question is to Neo, which pill does he want to take? Of course, in the movie, he takes the red pill, because if he would have taken the blue pill, there will be no movie and no sequel. But in true life, there's only one pill. You are asked, and as an individual, as a team, or as a business, to perform while transforming. If trust is fundamental for performing, it's even more important when you are transforming. When you try to transform pieces of the things you do, trust is fundamental. Do I believe? Do I trust my leadership? Do I trust my colleague? Do I trust this person to help me through the transformation? And it's about building future-proof services and products and platforms and business models to help you to iterate, innovate, or disrupt. Because the way you can innovate those is 3 different ways. 3 different innovations. If you iteratively innovate, it means if you take the mechanic of the organization, you oil the machine to be more productive, efficient, and effective. If you look at innovative innovation, you take your mechanic or your engine that you have, and you will add new products and new services and maybe new business models to it. If you look at disruptive innovation, it's basically building a new engine or a new machine, potentially replacing a department or the whole company over time. Hence the reason why it's called disruptive. But you also try to build future-proof leadership. It is important, if you want to perform and transform, to have leadership that has a mix. Sometimes it's one person's, but a mix in people skills in the organization. If you look at Apple, what made Apple so great is you had Steve Jobs in the transformational, visionary type of leader, and you have Tim Cook, who became the CEO as operational leader. Microsoft became Microsoft because of Bill Gates as a visionary and Steve Ballmer as the operational master. And now Satya Nadella is leading Microsoft and has the unique ability to even cover both. And then at Facebook, you have Mark Zuckerberg and you have Sheryl Sandberg. And if you look at Tesla, Elon Musk struggled big time. Until last year, he didn't have really operational masters in the company. That's why he was struggling to get his SpaceX and scale on a profitable manner his Tesla business. And now he's putting also that operational muscle. Because you can have leaders that have a vision that they say where they want to go, but you have to have operational mastery that are able to execute. You want to build future-proof partnerships. Future-proof partnerships, and there's a way of combining the strength of a startup and the strength of incumbents. Incumbents are more traditional companies that have been around for a while. And I'll show you how the two look to each other. An incumbent looks to a startup. It has changed. It's a little bit extreme views. That in a startup is a chief ID officer, a VP of hype, disruption of buzzwords, of strategy, ambiguity, overpromise, shiny new things. And the manager of business result is vacant. Now, startups, when they look to incumbents or traditional companies, they believe there's a chief ID killer at the top, a vice president of now, status quo, stay on course, bureaucracy, rigidity, and the manager of new growth IDs is vacant. But the biggest challenge will be, how do you give a handshake between both? How do you take the mindset and the approach of startups being not scared of a lot of stuff, trying new stuff, learning and failing and experimenting from that, being agile, having new ideas, together with the strengths of traditional companies that have been around that know, most of them know how to run customer services, how to take care of people, how to take care of investors. If you handshake that partnership, that's truly what will make a difference. And then you have to build the right mindset, the heart set and the skill set. If you build those 3 pillars, the mindset, and the question you should ask, what kind of mindset can keep us relevant? What open growth mindsets do I have versus a fixed mindset? What kind of skills do I need inside the company or outside the company to be future-proof? And then the heart set means, do I understand the emotions and the passions shaping our worldview of our people, of our teams, our beliefs and how we act? If you understand the heart set and you share your heart set, you have the right mindset, and you're able to build the right skill set, you're basically unstoppable. And to summarize, succeeding in any transformation, taking the trend, takes the personal and business transformation. First of all, you have to have the right North Star, the vision. What is your purpose as a company? What are the ambitions of your company? What is the value you want to create for whom? And what is the culture you want to keep you have today? And what is the culture you have to develop to succeed in a new North Star you're building? And then you put the customer at the heart of your business, starting with the experience first, using data to personalize and preemptively surprise your customer in a positive way. Put the people at the soul of the company, the way you agility, the way you have an open mindset, the way you are structured, the way you allow other people to join in and co-create. And then see digital as the oxygen of the company. You start with your North Star, and then you look at the 3 pillars, and digital is just one element. It is not a fundamental strategy. It is an agent to the strategy. And let me end with a little future. Future of kids born today. Kids that are born today will fully live until we are 100 years old. I am probably will have no driver license anymore. In this driving, not driving cars. If we are going to go from 768
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, there's always a margin of error that's associated with a lot of our virtual meetings. Nonetheless, we will unfortunately going to have to cut Mr. Van Duüren off. I sincerely apologize, Mr. Van Duüren. I hope you can see or hear me.
Yeah.
Apologies, sir, but thank you so much for your presentation. Very dense, a lot to take home. I was actually trying to make notes, and I found myself going off multiple tangents